Today on our 2014 Ford Escape, we're going to be taking a look at and show you how to install the etrailer.com Class 3 trailer hitch receiver, part number E98866. This is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. As you can see, the cross tube is completely hidden behind the bumper fascia. The only thing noticeable is the receiver tube. The edge of our receiver tube is going to sit nice and tucked in underneath the outer edge of our bumper fascia, so we're not going to have to worry about hitting our legs or our shins on it when we're loading and unloading the vehicle. It's going to be a Class 3 hitch. It's going to be 2" by 2". Hitch pin hole is going to be 5/8 inch in diameter. It's going to have a rolled steel style safety chain loop. It's going to fit different size safety chain hooks. Now, as far as weight capacities go with this hitch, you're going to have a 350-pound max tongue weight, which is a downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. You're going to have a 3,500-pound max trailer weight, which is a trailer plus the load included. I do recommend checking the owner's manual to make sure the vehicle can withstand that amount of weight. You're going to pick the lowest number between the vehicle and the hitch. Now, this hitch is weighted for weight distribution. Tongue weight is going to go up to 500 pounds. Trailer weight is going to go up to 5,000 pounds. This hitch is going to have a carbide black powder coat finish. It's going to resist any rust or corrosion. Now let me give you a few measurements to help you when deciding on any hitch mount accessories you may need, such as a bike rack, ball mount, or cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of the bumper, it's about 4 inches. From the ground to the top innermost part of the receiver tube, it's about 14 inches. Now let me show you how to get this installed. First thing we need to do to start our installation is we need to lower our exhaust. We're going to have a bracket on the driver's side frame rail and the passenger side frame rail. These are the 2 bolts we're going to be removing. We're going to use a 13mm socket. You're going to repeat that on the passenger side. Next thing we need to do is we need to trim our heat shield, but first we're going to mark it. We're going to go about 1 inch behind this forward hole here. We're just going to go straight across and then right up this edge. And we're going to take out all of that. We're going to have a nut right here. We're going to use a 10mm socket. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of rust around that bolt head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down, kind of like this. Take my 10 snips and I'll cut this edge enough where I can fold this back to cut that off. And then you're going to repeat the same process on the other side. This is going to be our access hole to put our hardware up into our frame rail. Our carriage bolt head will not fit through it, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to open up this hole a little bit. I'm going to use a grinding bit. You can use a file, whatever means you got to open that hole up enough to get that in. So you can see we want just enough we can fit the bolt head in. Once we've got our hole open, we want to make sure we cover up that bare metal. Use some clear coat, some Rust-Oleum paint to resist any rust or corrosion later on down the road. We're going to have 3 holes we're going to be using. We're going to be using this one, and this one up here on the outside of the frame rail. We're going to take a pull wire. We want the spring in. We're going to feed it through that hole, and we want it to come out of this hole. Just like that. We're going to take spacer block. Go ahead and slide it up into the hole. And then we're going to thread on our carriage bolt. What you want to do here is take the bolt and flip it over and put the head in first. Pull it out like that and then slide it back into the hole. Next hole, we're going to do this one. Again, spring end of our pull wire. We're going to go through like that, and then the same combination of hardware. We're going to install it the same way. Go ahead and push spacer block up inside, right on our carriage bolt, head of the bolt in first, and then finally our last hole. We're going to do this one a little bit different. We're going to put our hardware on to our pull wire first. We're going to do a reverse feed. We're going to put our bolt in first, push it up in the hole, and your spacer block, and we're going to pull it right back down. We're going to repeat that same process on the other side. Next, we're going to install our hitch. What we're going to do is we're going to come from our passenger side. You can see our exhaust kind of hangs down low. We're going to slide it in from here across to the driver's side. Next, we're going to put our pull wires through the corresponding holes in the hitch. We're going to be using this most rear one and this middle one here. Now we'll push our hitch up And our top bolt here, if we pull it out, on each side, it'll actually hold the hitch in place. Directions are going to tell you to put a nut on the bottom of these first. I suggest taking your pull wire off of this one and putting the nut on here first, because if that drops down inside the frame rail, it's going to be hard to get out. While the hitch is weighing down on it, it doesn't move. So we're going to go ahead and pull this wire off, put our nut on. Then you'll have a flange nut. Throw that on. Then go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Next we'll remove both of our pull wires on the bottom. And we'll install a flange nut. Now these bolts are loose, so if you put just a little bit of pressure against them until you get it started, it makes it a little bit easier. And then you're going to repeat the same process on the other side. Next we'll take an 18mm sock and we're going to tighten all of our hardware. Next we're going to torque down all of our hardware to the specifications and the instructions. Next we'll be reinstalling our exhaust. You're going to get new hardware in your kit. A small hex bolt like this, you're going to put a flat washer on it. Then we're just going to line up the holes. Once you have your hardware installed, use a 13mm socket to tighten them down. And you're going to repeat that same thing on the other side. That'll do it for a look at an installation on etrailer.com Class 3 trailer hitch receiver, part number E98866 on our 2014 Ford Escape.